We began this weekend of winter meetings with 8 rules change proposals, and one of those has generated a whole lot of reaction, not just across this country, but worldwide among the fan base of Drum Corps International, and that is the proposal to allow any musical instruments on the field beginning in the 2021 season. This proposed rules change is proposed, instead of by a corps director, by the board chair of DCI, Kathy Black. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Dan.
Okay, we've seen this proposal a couple of times before, but it was brought to the table by a corps director. Why did you, as board chair, decide it was time for you to sponsor this proposed rules change and bring it to this meeting?
Well, first of all, I would say that we have a focus on new revenue in the board. If you look at the strategic plan of Drum Corps International, you're going to see that finding new revenue streams is one of our strategic initiatives, and that fits in with the mission and vision of Drum Corps International, which if you read those, you're going to see that the idea is to get more participants worldwide involved in what our activity has to offer. We already have today a sound sport division that does use all instruments. It's growing, and we as a board are looking at the future. Is there a possibility of growing Drum Corps International in other ways, creating other revenue streams? And so there was a task force put together under the leadership of David Glasgow. A number of people were on the task force, and they looked at possible ways that we might want to, in the long run, grow revenue. So the idea of being able to use any instrument came out of that task force. And some people, I think, have concluded that any instrument would mean that suddenly we're going to have more people in a drum corps. That is, none of those things are proposed at this time. I think they may have been proposed in the past.
Okay.
But the idea here is we don't know where the future will go. We do know that a very large percentage of young people who play instruments in band play woodwind instruments. We know that. It is possible that they could get involved in our activity in sound sport and maybe in the future in other ways. So when we were looking at it, we didn't want to propose an increase in the number of people in a drum corps. That's a very complicated question. It goes to how many vehicles you might have, how many people you need to feed 4 times a day. I mean, there's just a whole host of questions that go into that. And if we were to increase the size of drum corps, there's certainly going to be nothing to say that we wouldn't have 50 more brass players, for instance.
Sure.
So we really started to study the matter, and we said, well, one of the things we should do is look at the rules as they exist today. And what we found when we looked at the rules they were sort of incomprehensible, because you can do things like play a synthesized woodwind, but you can't play a real one. You could even bring a woodwind on the field and toss it around like guard equipment, but you can't play it. You can also do things like play an electric guitar, but not an acoustic guitar. So those just seemed incomprehensible to us.
Incongruous, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we just thought, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we propose that we let you use any instrument that you might, not change the size of the drum corps, not change the judging, not force all corps to do this, but just give you the option if someone wanted to use an instrument that is not allowed today, that they would be able to do that. And it's our assumption in proposing this is that there probably would be some soloists, there would probably be some small ensembles, maybe some people in the front ensemble playing, but not marching around. And when I say I think it's important that I explain, the board did get a recommendation from the task force, and it did vote to put forth this rules proposal. My name's on it because I'm the chair of the board, but certainly there's a lot of people having fun, perhaps at my expense.
Well, I want to get into that because you're taking a lot on your shoulders here. But before we do that, Draw a line then from, if you're not going to increase the number of members in a corps,
Right.
how does adding the potential of any kind of musician being in a corps, even a woodwind musician, how does that add revenue either to the corps or to DCI?
Well, one thing, it breaks a barrier that we have now. So we hope, at least initially, that it will get more people interested in DCI. Young people who do play a woodwind instrument might be more interested in buying a ticket. In the future, we don't know where it will go. Maybe there'd be a new division that would use the whole field. Sound Sport, of course, uses a smaller area to perform in. Maybe there would be a new division that would use the whole field and allow others to allow woodwind instruments to be in that. That certainly would grow the activity. But what we're trying to do initially is, let's reach more people. Let's get more people interested in drum corps, in our activity, and let them perhaps benefit from the great things that we offer. Now, one of the things we do know is that almost every corps has woodwind players in the corps. They're
already there.
They're already there. They're playing a different instrument, perhaps. They perhaps are in the guard. It's not that difficult.
Certainly, performers who are double or triple threats would be of much greater value to their corps.
They would be of much greater value, and it would be very, very interesting. I mean, we thought the proposal would do several things. One, it would spur some creativity. Perhaps we've already seen some creativity online, but it would certainly.
Is that what you're calling it today?
Yeah, creativity.
Uh-huh.
But it certainly would spur some creativity, and it would allow us to assess a lot of the concerns people have. If someone plays a woodwind, how will it be accepted? What are the logistical issues about touring with a woodwind instrument itself when it's played outdoors, and there's amplification, and there's, what about rain, and all those kinds of things that people keep bringing up. Yeah, those could be assessed over time. And it's our belief that the world will not end if someone plays a real woodwind instrument as opposed to a synthesized one.
Some of the critics say it damages the brand of Drum Corps International. The Drum Corps International is one thing, you want to make it something else. How do you respond?
Well, Drum Corps International is an organization with a mission and a vision that they should all read it, but it really is there to offer people a great experience. And we're not going to change that great experience. Certainly if someone plays a woodwind, the core value of excellence will be pursued. The thoughts of creativity and teamwork, all those core values that we have will still be there. And it is called Drum Corps International. I understand that. I'm a percussionist myself. And by the way, I wanted to say that because I don't play a woodwind instrument, and I don't own stock in a woodwind company. I don't own a reed company, so none of those things are true if you've been reading those.
I've never heard of a Kathy Black oboe for sale anywhere.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to do with woodwinds. But we believe what we can offer could be offered in different ways in the future. We don't know where it's going to go. All we're saying right now is let's make it possible if somebody wanted to do something creative on the field that they could do that.
We expect a lot of debate and discussion about this over the next 24, 36 hours or so. Out there beyond Indianapolis,
absolutely,
passions are running very high.
Very high.
You've been vilified in some quarters.
Oh, I'm sure I have. Yes, yes. Again, my name was put on there because somebody had to sign it.
So, you're willingly the lightning rod.
Yes. I said I would step up to that role. Yes.
So, how does that feel?
Well, I'm fine with some of the interesting memes that have been going around. I think that is the kind of creativity and passion that we expect to see from fans of Drum Corps.
Well, how do you answer a fan who says, well, I'm never coming back to another Drum Corps show if they let woodwinds in?
Well, we heard some of that when we talked about trombones, and we heard of that when we talked about, French horns, and, we probably heard about that when they talked about five-octave marimbas on the field, and, I don't know. We certainly are not here to drive fans away, and all this proposal does is allow you to use any instrument you want.
The word woodwinds is nowhere in this proposal, right?
Well, the word was inserted because it's the any instrument proposal, basically. You can use any instrument, but we wanted to say the phrase including woodwinds is in there to just emphasize that that would be the significant barrier that would be moving through. I mean, people have seen stringed instruments. The Blue Devils had a stringed instrument in this last championship run for them. And it was used creatively, and
But it wouldn't have been allowed if it were an acoustic violin.
Yeah,
right?
and that was one of the incomprehensible things. Yes, what do you do? It's the acoustic violin's not allowed. The Crossmen had some electric guitars, as I recall, but if they wanted to play acoustic guitar into a microphone, well, I couldn't do that. So we're saying don't panic. We're not proposing eliminating brass and having marching bassoon sections. That's not what we are after. We are just trying to open this up to more people, more creativity, and looking at the change that allowed all brass. We watched that. That was several years ago, and we don't see marching French horn sections.
All right.
But you do see French horns used in some very
There have been some very beautiful moments
beautiful
with French horns,
moments.
trombones.
Yes, and trombones. People have had a lot of fun with trombones, and they're used pretty regularly, but they're not used in every corps and every show from the beginning to the end. But they're used in creative ways. So that's all we're saying right now. Maybe in the future, who knows what the future will bring. One of the things that the board is particularly interested in is to make sure that as we approach our 50th anniversary, that we get ready for another 50 years of drum corps. And we don't know where it's going to go, but we think, excluding a significant portion of the population that plays instruments, well, maybe that's not a good idea.
As we sit here Friday evening just before dinner, the Instructors Caucus is this evening.
Yes.
And then if there is a vote on this, it'll happen tomorrow. What's your sense? You're the chair. I got to think that you canvassed a little bit before you agreed to put your name on this. Do you think
Yes.
it'll pass?
Well, I think we've talked to some corps directors who see it as the next step. My name's on it, not theirs. You'll notice that. But no, I think there are a number of corps directors that says, yeah, it might make some sense. We'll see if it, first of all, it has to come up through the Instructors Caucus, so we'll see if that happens. There could be some modifications to the rule as it's proposed. I mean, once the voting membership gets a hold of it, they can do what they want. And I think certainly the reaction of people around the world will be discussed and factored in. But one of the things that I take away from this is I really do admire the passion people have for our activity. It's amazing, really, when you put out something like this and get hundreds or thousands of comments.
It's a lifetime love affair with this activity. And
It is.
I guess my plea would be understand that Kathy Black loves the activity as much as you do.
Absolutely.
As do all of the corps directors and all the people here at these winter meetings. We're all just trying to find the best path forward, right?
That's what we're trying to do, and we want to bring it to more people worldwide. So read that mission statement.
Let's see how it goes. Kathy, thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you.
Kathy Black, Board Chair, Drum Corps International. Hey, Dan Potter.
And Jeff Griffith with the DCI News Network.
From the rules proposals to the Drum Major Leadership Summit, we are covering it all at the Drum Corps International Winter Meetings.
Yeah, you can follow along on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, our website, dci.org.
Make sure you leave us your comments and join in the conversation.